That should have been the first warning. But Anya was only 10, too young to notice the shift in the air when she picked up the doll, too innocent to feel the way the room seemed to breathe as she walked out. That night, she placed the doll on her bookshelf, right across from her bed. Its glassy eyes reflected the moonlight, and she almost felt like they were watching her. She shook her head, pushing the thought away. Hours later, something woke her up. A creaking sound. The kind old wooden floors creak when someone steps on them. She blinked, adjusting to the darkness. The room was still, silent, but something was different. The doll. It wasn't on the shelf anymore. It was sitting on her desk, facing her. Anya's heart pounded. Maybe she had moved it and forgotten. Maybe her mom had come in and shifted it. She swallowed hard, forcing herself to lie back down. It was just a doll. The next morning, she placed it back on the shelf. But that night it moved again. This time, it was closer. Sitting on her nightstand, its painted lips curved in the faintest smile. Anya's breath hitched. She reached out hesitantly, her fingers trembling as she picked it up and shoved it inside her closet. She closed the door, pressing against it, her heartbeat loud in her ears. But then, a soft thud. Anya froze. Another thud. Something was moving inside the closet. Slowly, the door creaked open. Just an inch. Enough for the dim light to catch the doll's face. Its head was tilted slightly, and its eyes, they were looking right at her. She screamed. Her parents rushed in, switching on the lights. "Anya, what happened?" her mother asked, her eyes filled with worry. Anya pointed a shaking finger at the closet, but the doll was back on the shelf, right where it had been. Her father sighed. "Bad dream, beta. Go back to sleep." But Anya knew. She knew she hadn't imagined it. The next day, she shoved the doll inside a box, sealed it with tape, and buried it at the back of her closet. That night, she woke up again. The room felt colder, the air heavier. And then she heard it. A soft giggle. Her blood ran cold. She sat up slowly, her fingers gripping the blanket. The closet door was open. And the doll was sitting on the floor. Closer. Anya's breath came in shallow gasps. She didn't dare move. Then, the doll's eyelids fluttered. It blinked. Anya choked on a scream and scrambled out of bed, running straight to her parents' room. But as soon as she reached their door, the giggle came again, right behind her. She spun around. The hallway was empty. But the doll was sitting at her feet. This time its smile was wider. Tears welled in Anya's eyes. She kicked the doll away and bolted into her parents' room. They calmed her down, but no matter how much she begged, they wouldn't believe her. The next morning, Anya made a decision. She would get rid of it. She took the doll, stuffed it inside a plastic bag, and ran to the backyard. She dug a hole, deep enough that it wouldn't be found, and threw the doll inside. With shaky hands, she covered it with dirt. Relief flooded her. It was over, or so she thought. That night, she slept peacefully. No noises, no giggles, no movement, until 3 a.m. Something brushed against her cheek. Her eyes fluttered open. A breath, a soft, warm breath against her ear. And then, a whisper. "Why did you bury me?" Anya screamed, thrashing as she tumbled out of bed. Her eyes darted around wildly. And there it was, the doll, sitting on her pillow. It was closer than ever before, its head tilted, its lips parted. "You can't get rid of me." Anya ran. She didn't stop. Not when she heard the giggles following her, not when she felt the air turn ice cold. She ran to her parents' room, shaking them awake. But when they turned on the lights, the doll was gone. Her parents took her to a priest the next day. He listened to her story, his face grave. "This is no ordinary doll," he said. "It has chosen you." Anya felt sick. "How do I stop it?" The priest handed her a small vial of holy water. "You must burn it. But be warned, it will not go willingly." That night, Anya built a small fire in the backyard. Her hands trembled as she placed the doll on the flames. The fire flickered. Then, a blood-curdling scream tore through the night. The doll writhed, twisted, and then it laughed. The flames danced higher, swallowing it whole. The laughter turned into shrieks, and then silence. Ash. It was over, or so she thought. Weeks passed. The nightmares faded. Anya felt safe again, until one evening as she was drawing in her room, she felt it, a presence. Her breath caught in her throat. Slowly she turned her head. Her closet door, it was open, and inside, sitting on the highest shelf, a doll. Not the same one, but close enough. Its eyes, they blinked. The end.